God dang it, Evan, man. Just everything's tall but me.
Listen, you're not that short.
Come on, brother. So, what the hell do we have behind us here?
So this is a 1984 Peterbilt 362. It's got a 350 big cam. We're gonna let her air out a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
For Cabovers my entire life, and I saw this one for sale at the Iowa 80 truck stop one year, and I needed a yard dog for moving trailers around in my shop. If you ever get up my way and you stop by my shop, you'll see it's real tight in front. Guys with a real long wheelbase, 325, sometimes hard for them to back in. So I bought this thing with the intentions of, I like old school nostalgia, and this thing was as old school as it comes. It was an old paper transport truck out of California, and I wanted to keep it cool, and the old guy I bought it from asked me what I was going to do with it, and I said literally I was going to take it to my lady that does my pinstriping and hand letter my name on the door. I wanted it to look, if I got a time machine, I wanted to be able to park it back in 1984 and look like it fit, and she killed it.
Love it, brother. Yeah, let's walk around.
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
So all this stuff is original. The blue and white is the paper transport colors. The door jambs are still brown. There's a long story actually here at Waupun. I met a driver that used to be the guy that drove this truck, and he told me that they had bought a bunch of brown trucks on a special deal. They were stuck when CARB came through. They were one of the last companies to comply to CARB, and this one was brown, and they told them they wouldn't take it unless they painted it their blue and white. So they did, and they ate the cost of the paint to paint it the blue and white, but the door jambs never got painted. So if you look at the door jambs, they're still the original root beer brown, which I wish this truck was still the original root beer brown. I love that brown color, but at the same time, Paper Transport's a very notable company out of California that had a whole fleet of these things pulling produce out of the valley.
That's great, brother.
And the guy that drove it had a cool story about why this in the pocket was missing. Much like you trying to get out of the truck, you were trying to figure out how to get out, right?
Right.
And as you can see here, the teeth that hold the footstep here, they're usually sharper like this. But as it got worn down, he was caught in a rainstorm one day, and he was trying to get out, and he slipped, and as he was falling, he reached for the door handle so he could catch himself, and he missed, and he caught here, ripped that, and ripped the door pocket off and laid on his back on the ground.
Oh, no.
So it was kind of cool to have that story, because now I have every record for this thing from the day it was brand new till the day I purchased it. And it's a stack of papers like this thick, from every service record to everything. Only thing I personally changed on it was the rear wheels. The rear wheels were steel, white painted steel, and I put a polished fifth wheel on there. As a polisher, I had to have polished wheels. I had to have a polished fifth wheel because it's what we do, right? And I did add a hitch on it so that I could pull my trailer to the shows.
I love that, brother. And you know, we were talking off camera. You don't really need a CDL to drive this.
Yeah, so this one falls under the collector here in Wisconsin. I can put collector plates on it, and it doesn't weigh enough to fall under the classification of needing a CDL or air brake certification. It's much like a camper motorhome. You just hop in it and go. As long as you're not pulling a trailer and the weight goes over the restriction, you're good to go.
What's going on, Mother Truckers? Welcome to the Asian My Show. We got a very special guest. You know, we usually just talk trucking, but today I really want to talk about the behind the scenes. There's a lot of part of trucking. There's a lot of moving parts that people don't know that exist to make things happen.
Yeah.
And if you don't know this man, you will today. So please introduce yourself.
My name's Evan Stager, owner of Evans Detailing and Polishing. We're located in Chilton, Wisconsin. Been polishing 21 years and been part of the show scene for the better part of 12, maybe 15 years.
Ain't that something?
It seems like it's only been a minute, but it's my guys always remind me in the shop how much older I am than they are. But 15 years went by fast. I'm pretty sure it's 15 years now we've been in the show scene.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
You know, so let's take it back. How the hell did this even start, Evan?
That's wild. When I was 14, I was working at a truck wash. The weird thing is I have no truckers in my family, none. I started washing trucks for a local company because I grew up in a little town. It was less than 1,500 people, and the only jobs that were available were trucking company jobs or working in fast food and stuff like that. And the trucking company was where I went to work. They would let you wash trucks at 14, and I've been a workaholic my entire life, so it was cool that I could start a job at 14. And they had really nice trucks. The company was called Perrin Trucking. They're a little trucking company out of Campbellsport, and started washing trucks. They had nice trucks, and I fell in love with them. And then I started going to shows and saw that there was even better trucks. And I started going, you know, I wanted to touch some of those. And the show that we're actually at now, that you came to here, Waupun Truck Show, it was Waupun Truck End Show, or Truckers Jamboree back then. Another company took that over. Now we're just called Waupun Truck End Show. But I started coming to that, and I realized that some of those guys were going to another truck wash in North Fond du Lac. It was called Sparkle Wash at the time. So I decided I wanted to go work there because they got to wash nicer trucks.
And that's all you cared about?
That's all I cared about. Was I just wanted to be around cool stuff all the time, and I fell in love with trucks. So getting to be around cooler trucks was even better for me. So I went to go work at Sparkle Wash. We had a lot of regular guys that would come through. Had a lot of really good guys on a regular basis, and started polishing right out of high school, kind of on the side to make some extra cash while I was at the wash, because a lot of guys did that on the weekend. And I started falling in love with the polishing side. I love the instant gratification you get from polishing. And I came down to Waupun with a couple of my buddies, and they won a bunch of trophies. As you'll see this weekend, there will be literally 300 trophies given away. There'll be 300 trucks and 300 trophies. A lot of guys will get 2 or 3 trophies, and some guys won't get any. But the guys that I detailed and polished, they got first places, second places. I was like, no, this is cool. And I don't want to say I'm a trophy chaser, but seeing your customers get trophies and reward for their hard work and something cool that they built, that got me hooked. So I'm not chasing the trophy, I'm chasing the high that my customers get, and that was my drug. And we set out to tried to set out to be different in the industry. A lot of metal polishers in this industry are not clean and sober, is probably the best way to put it, and we wanted to set something different and create it as a business and not just working in a truck stop taking whatever money you can get. Fast forward 15 years later, we bought a shop.
How did that feel? Tell me the feeling that, you know, of having something of your own. What does that feel like, brother?
It was awesome, because most polishers I knew at the time were mobile, like I was. We worked out of our cars, we worked out of our vans, we worked out of trailers. We didn't have a shop. So if it rained or the weather was inclement, we had to cancel a job, or you'd set up a tent and work in the rain. Like, it wasn't awesome holding a grinder working in the rain. And to finally have a shop and be able to have a place to call our own and a place we could pull somebody in, it was awesome. At first, our shop was still 95% mobile, 5% in the shop. It didn't pay the bills for 2 years because there wasn't enough work coming through the shop, but my mobile work paid to keep the shop going. And I knew sooner or later enough people would become accustomed to coming to the shop that eventually it would pay off. And now, I would say our work now, we've been in our shop since my little one was born, so she's 7. Now we're at like 90% in the shop, 10% mobile. And it's awesome because I got my regular customers. Everybody comes through certain times of the year. We still go mobile to take care of our big fleets. Nelson Trucking, you did an interview with Aaron Nelson.
That's the man right there.
We do his whole fleet. Matt Weiss, local here to Waupun, just outside of town here in Brownsville. We do his whole fleet. We go to their shops and do them because they're all in the same place, so it's easier for us to just go and knock out 5 or 6 trucks in a day. And they like it because then their drivers are home and they don't have to pay somebody to be hanging out at our shop waiting for it to get done. It's awesome to have a place to call our own, and now we get people from all over the country. If you've met at the show, Mike Grimm, of course Don Wood, trying to think, Mitchell Bottomley, some of these guys that come around and they want to come see my shop. It's like a place of interest for some people. It's a cool feeling.
That's great, man. You deserve it, brother. You know, you
appreciate
really
that.
do, man. And you're too humble about it because you have your shop. And how many franchises do you have?
So we actually have, it's either 4 or 5 locations. Let me count them out. Nebraska, Indiana, Illinois. He does both. Kansas, Colorado. Colorado's currently working in my shop. It's still there. He's working on getting somebody to replace his spot because he's my manager now. Keenan, I think you met him last night. And Connecticut. So there's 5 of them.
So from 14 years old, being broke, not having nothing,
Yep.
to having 5 franchises, having your own shop, and, you know, I talk to the big players around here. You know, they love your work, brother.
We're really fortunate. Guys like Don Wood, Mitchell Bottomley, the trucks, the caliber that they built. I'm truly blessed that they let us touch their stuff. Because Don's truck, we joke around that it's the $1 million truck. Don tells us it isn't, but we're going to call it the $1 million truck anyways. 2.1, I guess, is the number today, but
Right, yeah.
could be 3.5 tomorrow.
It might be 7 million, whatever it is, right?
But the fact that they built these cool trucks and trust us to polish it, maintain it, help keep them on point during the year, and like today, have him and Mitchell in the booth is amazing. I couldn't ask for better people, and it's been a long, hard road to get here, and the reason I stay humble is I don't forget the day I left the truck wash. I had nothing in my bank account. I had my check from the truck wash. I had put in my 2-week notice. We had a difference in opinions. I was trying to promote and it didn't work out. And I had my final check. It was, I think, $550. My final check. I had worked a ton of overtime my last week there. It was $550. And I literally took that money. I think we paid our first month's house mortgage because I had quit my job, got married, and bought a house all within a 3-month period. I took that $550, paid my house mortgage that month, and the rest went to polishing supplies. And my wife's like, "Do you really think this is gonna work?" I said, "I will make it work." And the next year, the recession hit, the bottom fell out, and we muscled it out. I worked at a movie store for a couple of years because I couldn't stand sitting at home. And then the economy came back, trucking came back real strong, and we literally went from nothing to this.
You know, I tell you, for the people that feel like they can't make something happen, you know, in the beginning it's hard because no one believes in you.
Yeah.
Any advice for those people?
You don't necessarily... I listen to a lot of the big guys, Gary Vee, a lot of the inspirational guys, and everybody always says you don't have to always believe in yourself. You just got to be doing something, right? And that never really weighed hard on me until probably 4 or 5 years ago after we had our second daughter. I would say even in the times where you think you want to throw in the hat, muscle it out until you have to throw in the hat. And even then, you don't have to do anything. Hard work and determination almost always wins. Treat your customers with respect. Give them the best service possible you can without giving it away. And it'll all work out in the end. You got to want it. If you don't want it, your customers see you don't want it, it just doesn't work.
No, I love that. And at the end of the day, how do people find your shops? Who are you?
Yeah, I market pretty well, and I'm pretty fortunate that we got lucky. Thanks to Chris down at Big Rig Videos. He helped put me on the map too.
He's a good dude.
I get along great with Chris.
I'm telling you, we talked off camera. Exceptional guy.
Yeah.
You know, when I met him at Wildwood.
Yeah.
And he actually said, Alex, I watched some of your videos. I was like, I'm done.
That's awesome.
I'm retired. I mean, when the GOAT tells you that they watch your stuff, it's like, you know what I mean?
I pulled Don aside today because last night when we were sitting in the golf cart just shooting the breeze, and he compared me to the polisher he did. I won't bring the name up, but when he compared me to that guy, that's a guy that I've looked up to my entire life. So when he compared me to that guy, and that guy, a lot of people don't know him, which is sad for me because I feel like he's one of the best polishers out there. So when Don compared me to him, like I about cried. Like last night was rough.
You know, it's you know, again, you're a humble guy, but I'm sorry to say, you know, just to keep it humble, we'll just say, as of right now in America, top 3.
I appreciate that.
We'll leave it. People could put in whatever orders they want.
I feel like I'm not top 10 or top 20. I want to stay hungry and stay moving forward all the time.
All right, 21. Evan, is that 21?
I'll take 21.
Right. And if people want to look up your shop, what's your shop name?
It's Evans Detailing and Polishing. My website is GoShineOn.com. We recently, 2 years ago, developed our own products. We worked with a couple different chemists and a couple different manufacturing companies for buffs and compounds. Metal polishing is my forte, so we do a lot of buffs and compounds. But liquids, we got into that 2 years ago, and they're doing really well. We got, I think, 15 or 16 different products.
And what's the flagship product called?
It's called Time to Shine. As you can tell by my shirt, we've said for years that there's always time to shine, and it's one of those things that stuck. And when we were trying to decide on a product name, we were like, what's available? We started looking around what was available, and Go Shine On was always our thing. For the longest time, we always said shine on to everybody, and we just looked up Time to Shine, and we settled on it and moved forward as quick as we could, hit the ground running.
Oh, man. Well, congratulations, brother.
I appreciate that.
On your success.
It means a lot. We're truly grateful for what we got.
That's it, brother.